I'm going to start my speech now. Technology, as you might know, technology has accelerated the rate of human development by an incredible amount. An online article has made an interesting observation. If human history is condensed into a year, then all the technological development that we had would happen minutes before midnight. However, because of technology's incredibly rapid speed, it has led to the problem of differences in innovation. In this speech, I will discuss the reality of this problem, how developing countries can successfully adopt new frontier technology while balancing it with the preservation of equity. There's no denying that technology has aided countries tremendously. However, the access to it has mostly been in the hands of developed nations, even though developing countries would benefit more from it. The issue does not stop there. There exists an innovation paradox, which means when developing countries are reluctant to invest in new technologies, since the returns on these investments are not as large as theory predicts, and it would take time before actual effects takes place, combined with a really high risk factor. Moreover, these developing nations also face the issue of widening technological gap within the nation. And this acts as a serious impediment to development since these nations are only at the stages of adopting pre-existing technologies rather than actively pursuing its own innovations. For instance, people who know and have access to these technological devices, such as computers or phones, are mostly living in the city, while people in rural areas do not have much familiarization with these tools. And when automation takes over manual jobs, these jobs are often occupied by people in these rural areas, thus creating this loop of poverty and stagnation. In order to effectively adopt new frontier technology, developing countries should view this process as creating changes from the roots and not a one-time investment. This means a comprehensive reform of many aspects of society, which includes education, politics, policies, etc. Innovation does not come by itself, and the lack of complementary factors prove to be one of the crucial reasons why technological development fails to achieve its full potential in developing countries. For instance, a government wants to work on biotechnology and create these advanced modifications of biological systems, but they refuses to address the technological gap between citizens. As a result, the progress made from these investments are inaccessible to most people and falls onto the use of the few quote-unquote elites. Simply pouring money into these things is not enough. Country level changes should be made. It can be anything from devising a new education plan to familiarize students with these type of developments early on, or to provide students with an equal chance to access education, or work on policies that will help to put these technologies into practical use so that it can help aid the less fortunate. Policymakers should direct technological changes for societal goods, and governments should prepare for the adoption of new technologies while advancing the technologies that they already have. And for workers who are affected by the takeover of technology, they should be supported with policies such as unemployment security, technological training, or free higher education. Let's take a look at this matter from a more global perspective. Developed nations should not stay on the sidelines of this innovation era, since globalization comes hand in hand with technological development. And in order for developing countries to achieve advancement, developed nations should also participate in this process, and this can be a mutually beneficial communication. Let's take a look at Ireland, for example, as a case study. We see that it used to be one of the poorest nations in Europe. And one of the reasons why it has become such a rich country like today is because it used innovation through invitation, inviting foreign investors to invest in their country. And also developed nations can also help developing countries to create their own innovations so that transformation can begin from the core. in conclusion, successful adoption of technology for developing countries might still be a long road. However, the future is bright if governments can take into consideration and devise the right plans and action. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Thao. I think you have made excellent point. The government must, actively plan and revise their plan. But in addition to that, if you have additional idea, what other aspect must be put in place to add the government's action?
I think that for me as a student, I would really encourage peers of mine to actually come up with like campaigns to help raise awareness about this issue and not just put all of the responsibility on the government. And I think that because the governments, they tend to listen to the citizens' voices, especially for like the youth voices, I think that we as students and like the younger generation can also be a part in, helping to achieve like sustainable development.
Thank you very much.